Let me rewind to the exact second my marriage flatlined. Tuesday, 7:43 p.m. I'm standing in the kitchen of the house we bought together 4 years ago. Water boiling for spaghetti. Ground beef browning in the other pan. Her favorite meal because I'm an idiot who still thought I could fix things by cooking. Lisa walks in. No hello, no kiss. Just that posture. Arms crossed so tight she's practically hugging herself. She's been building up to this for days. I could feel it. The silent treatments. The sighs loud enough to wake the neighbors. The way she'd look at her phone and then at me like I was the reason for every bad thing in her life. We need to talk. 4 words. Every married person knows them. They're never followed by anything good. I turned the heat down on the sauce. Okay, talk. I want a divorce. She said it fast, like ripping off a Band-Aid. Then she waited. Here's what I knew in that moment. Lisa didn't want a divorce. She wanted a reaction. She'd been playing this game for 3 years now. Every 4 to 6 months, she'd bring it up. Sometimes at dinner, sometimes in bed at midnight, once at my mother's birthday party, whispered in my ear while my mom was blowing out candles. And every single time before this, I'd crumbled. I'd beg, I'd cry. I'd promise to be better, do more, change everything about myself. I'd buy her flowers. I'd take her on trips we couldn't afford. I'd grovel for weeks until she finally graciously decided to give me another chance. That was the pattern. She'd threaten to leave. I'd panic. She'd get everything she wanted. Rinse. Repeat. But something was different this Tuesday. I don't know if it was the exhaustion, or the way I looked at the spaghetti sauce and realized I couldn't remember the last time she'd cooked for me, or the fact that I'd spent the entire weekend alone in the garage because she said my presence in the living room was suffocating. Whatever it was, the begging part of my brain just shut off. I looked at her, stirred the sauce, said, "Okay." She blinked. "Okay what?" "Okay, let's get a divorce." You should have seen her face. It was like she'd thrown a grenade and I'd just caught it and put it in my pocket. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "You don't mean that." "I mean every word." "But you always—" "I know what I always did. I'm not doing it anymore." She stood there for a full 10 seconds. I counted. Then she did something I'd never seen her do before. She got quiet. Not the angry quiet, the confused quiet. The quiet of someone who just realized the script got thrown out and she didn't know her lines. "You're going to regret this," she finally said. "Maybe. But I already regret the last 3 years. So what's a little more?" I turned back to the stove, served myself a plate of spaghetti, sat down at the kitchen table, ate like nothing had happened. She stood there watching me. Then she left the room, slammed the bedroom door. I finished my dinner, did the dishes, brushed my teeth, and slept on the couch without anyone asking me to. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years, not because I was sad, because I needed a plan. Lisa left for her job at 8:15 a.m. like nothing had happened, didn't say goodbye, didn't look at me, just grabbed her purse and walked out. I sat on the couch with a notebook, the same notebook I used to write grocery lists. I turned to a fresh page and wrote one sentence. What do I actually want? Not what Lisa wanted. Not what my parents wanted. Not what I thought I was supposed to want. What did I want? I stared at that page for 20 minutes. Because honestly, I didn't know anymore. I'd spent so long trying to be the husband Lisa said she wanted that I'd forgotten who I was underneath all the apologizing and the walking on eggshells. So I started small. I wrote down things I used to enjoy before the marriage turned into a hostage situation. Running, used to do 5 miles a day in college. Playing guitar, had an acoustic in the closet, hadn't touched it in 4 years. Video games. Lisa said they were childish, so I stopped. Seeing my friends, she didn't like any of them. Cooking. Ironic since I did all of it anyway, but I used to enjoy it before it became an expectation. Then I wrote down things I needed to fix. Credit score. Last I checked, 540. She'd opened 3 credit cards in my name without telling me. Career. Stalled out because I was too exhausted to take on extra projects. Body, 220 pounds on a 5'10" frame. Soft, tired, couldn't run a mile without stopping. Bank account. We had $800 in savings. She spent the rest on clothes she wore once and handbags she never carried. I looked at the list, felt overwhelmed. Then I did the only thing that made sense. I picked the easiest thing and started there. I called my brother Jake. "Can I stay with you for a bit?" "How long we talking?" "I don't know. A month? 2? I'm leaving Lisa." Long pause. Then, "It's about damn time. I'll clean out the guest room." I moved out on Thursday, took 1 suitcase of clothes, my laptop, my guitar, and my coffee maker. Left everything else, the furniture, the TV, the bed, the wedding albums. All of it. Lisa came home from work while I was loading the last bag into Jake's truck. She stood in the driveway. Arms crossed again. That was her default setting, I realized. Arms crossed, walls up. "You're really doing this? You said you wanted a divorce. I'm helping you get what you want." "I didn't think you'd actually leave." "Then why'd you say it?" She didn't answer. I closed the trunk, walked past her without touching her, got in the passenger seat. Jake looked at me. "You sure about this?" "Start the truck." He did. We pulled out of the driveway. I didn't look back, but in the side mirror I watched Lisa standing there, hands falling to her sides, watching us drive away. She looked smaller than I remembered. Here's the part that matters, the part most people screw up. After I left, I didn't contact her. At all. No texts, no calls, no social media posts, no liking her Instagram photos or watching her stories to see what she was doing. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. I call it the void, because that's what I created. A complete absence of me from her life. And here's the thing about a void. It's silent. It's empty. And if you leave one long enough, the person on the other side will start screaming into it just to hear something echo back. But I wasn't there to hear the screaming. I was busy. Jake's guest room was small, 10 by 12, a bed, a desk, a window that looked at a brick wall, but it had a door that closed, and no one on the other side of it waiting to criticize me. I set 3 rules for myself. Rule 1, no checking on Lisa for 30 days, not her social media, not her friends, not asking Jake if he'd heard anything. Nothing. Complete blackout. Rule 2, do one hard thing every day before noon. Could be physical, could be professional, could be emotional, but it had to be something that made me uncomfortable. Rule 3, no dating, no hookups, no distractions. This wasn't about replacing her. This was about rebuilding me. I wrote these rules on a sticky note and put it on my mirror. Read them every morning. Week 1, I slept. That's it. That's the win. I slept 10 to 12 hours a night because I didn't realize how sleep-deprived I was. Lisa had this thing where she'd wake me up at 2 a.m. to argue about something I'd said 6 months ago. My body was running on fumes. I let it recover. Week 2, I started running. Day 1, I tried to run a mile. Made it 0.6 miles before I had to walk. Felt like my lungs were collapsing. Did it again the next day. Made it 0.7. Day after that, 0.8. By day 7, I ran a full mile without stopping. It took 11 minutes. I almost cried at the finish line. Not because it was impressive, because I forgot what it felt like to keep a promise to myself. Week 3, I joined a gym. Not a fancy one. A grimy 24-hour place with broken lockers and that smell of sweat and desperation. Hired a trainer named Marcus. Guy was 6'4", 260 pounds of muscle, bald head, and the patience of a saint until you half-assed a rep. "You're weak," he said after my first assessment. Not mean, just factual. "I know." "Good, then you have nowhere to go but up." He put me on a program. Legs on Monday, push on Tuesday, pull on Wednesday, rest Thursday, repeat. I couldn't walk without waddling for the first 2 weeks. Couldn't lift my arms above my head. Couldn't open a jar of peanut butter without asking Jake for help. But every day, I showed up. Week 4, I finished my Salesforce certification. The one Lisa said was a waste of money because you'll never actually do it, you always start things and quit. I passed with an 89%, sent it to my boss at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night. She replied at 7 a.m. Monday. Let's talk raise. Week 5. I checked my credit report for the first time since moving out. 3 credit cards in my name I didn't open. Total balance, $8,400. All of it from stores I'd never been to. Anthropologie, Sephora, a furniture place. I called each card company, disputed the charges, filed a police report for identity theft. Against my own wife. That one hurt. Not gonna lie. Sitting in a police station, telling an officer that my wife opened credit cards in my name without permission. He didn't even blink. Said he saw it 3 times a week. "I'm sorry, man," he said. "Me too." Week 6. I pulled out the guitar. It was dusty. The strings were rusted. I restringed it, watched YouTube videos for an hour, learned 3 chords, G, C, D, played them over and over until my fingertips bled. Jake heard me from the other room, walked in. "Dude, that's terrible." "I know. Keep going." Week 7. My boss made good on the raise. $12,000 more per year, retroactive to the beginning of the quarter. I got a $4,000 lump sum in my next paycheck. Paid off 2 of the fraudulent credit cards with it. Watched my credit score jump from 540 to 612 in one day. That night, I sat on Jake's couch and just breathed. For 20 minutes, nothing else, just breathing. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't drowning. Week 8. I bought new clothes. Not fancy, just jeans that fit. Size 34 down from 38. Shirts that weren't stretched across my gut. Large, down from XL. A jacket that made me look like I had my life together. I looked in the mirror. Didn't recognize myself, in a good way. Week 9 was when Lisa started reaching out. It started small. A text from a number I hadn't blocked. I'd blocked her initially, but unblocked after the divorce was final because I figured I was strong enough to handle it. "Hey, just wondering how you're doing." I saw it, put my phone down, went to the gym. Another text 3 hours later. "Did you get my message?" Another one the next morning. "I'm not trying to start anything, just concerned." Another one that night. "Okay, I get it, you're ignoring me." I didn't respond to any of them, not out of anger, out of strategy. Every time I responded to Lisa in the past, it opened a door, and every open door became a negotiation, and every negotiation became me giving in. The only way to win was to not play, but she kept going. I've been thinking about us. Maybe I rushed into things. Can we at least talk, like adults? Then on a Saturday morning, she called. I let it ring. She called again. I let it ring. She called a third time. I answered. "Hey." Her voice was different, softer. The edge was gone. "Hey. I didn't think you'd pick up." I almost didn't. Long pause. I could hear her breathing. "I've been seeing someone," she said. I waited, because I knew this game. She wasn't telling me she was seeing someone. She was testing me, seeing if I'd get jealous, if I'd get angry, if I'd beg her to come back. "That's nice," I said. "I hope he treats you well." Another long pause. "That's it? That's all you have to say?" "What else is there to say? We're divorced. You can see whoever you want. I thought you'd be upset." "I'm not." "Why not?" "Because I don't love you anymore." That's what I wanted to say. But I didn't, because saying it would have given her something. A reaction. Proof that I still had feelings, even if they were negative ones. Instead, I said, "I gotta go. Gym closes in an hour." "You go to the gym now?" "Every day." "Since when?" "Since I left." Another pause. Then quietly, "You've changed." "I hope so." The old me was miserable. I hung up, went to the gym, did legs, cried a little on the leg press machine. Not because I was sad, because I was angry at myself for how long I'd stayed, for how much of myself I'd given to someone who only wanted to take. But anger fades. The muscle stays. The divorce was supposed to be simple. No kids, no shared assets besides the house. I told my lawyer to give her whatever she wanted. But Lisa apparently didn't want whatever she wanted. She wanted to fight. Her lawyer sent over a list of demands. She wanted alimony. She wanted me to pay her legal fees. She wanted my 401k. She wanted the dog. Fair. It was her dog anyway. She wanted me to keep paying the mortgage on the house she was living in. My lawyer laughed when he read it. "She's delusional." "Probably, but I don't want to fight." "Matt, she's trying to take everything." "Then let her try. I'll make more." He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "You're just going to let her walk all over you?" "No. I'm going to let her exhaust herself. There's a difference. We countered with zero. No alimony. No legal fees. No 401k. She could keep the house if she took over the mortgage. She could keep the car. She could keep the dog. But she wasn't getting another dime from me. Her lawyer came back with a slightly less ridiculous offer. We countered again. This went on for 6 weeks. Finally, 2 days before the court date, she caved. Signed the papers. No alimony. Split the legal fees. Kept the house and the car and the dog. My lawyer was stunned. How'd you know she'd fold? Because she never wanted a divorce. She wanted a reaction. When she didn't get one, she had nothing to hold on to. I didn't see her for 4 months. Then I ran into her at a gas station. I was filling up my car on a Sunday afternoon, late January, cold enough to see your breath. I was wearing a new jacket, dark gray, fitted, made my shoulders look wider. She pulled in on the other side of the pump, got out of her car. She was driving a Honda Civic now, not the SUV I remembered. Her hair was shorter, shoulder length instead of down her back. She was wearing sweatpants and an old hoodie. She looked tired. Not just physically tired, soul tired. She saw me, froze. For a second, I thought she was going to get back in her car and leave, but she didn't. She walked around the pump. Matt? Hey, Lisa. You look, I know, different. You look different. 40 pounds, new haircut, better sleep schedule. She looked me up and down. I could see her doing the math, comparing the man in front of her to the man she'd left, the one who wore stained t-shirts and couldn't run a mile, the one who apologized for existing. You look good, she finally said. Thanks. You look tired. I didn't say it to be mean. I said it because it was true. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, like she was carrying something heavy. She flinched anyway. I've been stressed. The house, the mortgage, work. You'll figure it out. I thought you'd call. I finished pumping my gas. Put the nozzle back. Why would I do that? Because that's what you always did. When we fought, when I pushed you away, you always came back. I know, that was the problem. She stepped closer. I made a mistake, Matt. I didn't think you'd actually leave. You said you wanted a divorce, Lisa. 3 times in the last year, 4 times the year before that. At some point, I had to start believing you. I was angry. I didn't mean it. You meant it enough to say it. She started crying, not loud sobbing, just tears running down her cheeks, standing at a gas pump in January, crying. I still love you, she whispered. And here's the thing. A part of me still loved her too. Not the woman in front of me. The woman I married, the one who laughed at my stupid jokes and stayed up late watching bad movies and held my hand in the car for no reason. That woman was gone. Had been for years. And crying at a gas pump wasn't gonna bring her back. I got in my car, rolled down the window. I hope you find what you're looking for, Lisa. I really do. Then I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I watched her watch me leave. Hands at her sides, shoulders shaking, standing there like she was waiting for me to turn around. I didn't. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. The papers were signed. The judge had stamped her approval. I was in my new apartment, not Jake's guest room anymore. A 1-bedroom place on the other side of town. Hardwood floors, a kitchen with actual counter space, a balcony big enough for a chair and a small grill. My guitar was in the corner. My weights were by the door. My laptop was open to a spreadsheet showing my credit score, 742. I was making dinner, chicken and broccoli, simple, healthy. The kind of meal I'd never have eaten 5 months ago because I'd have been too tired to cook and too broke to buy ingredients. My phone buzzed. Lisa. Hey, can we talk? I kept cooking. Lisa, please, just coffee. I need to see you. I plated my food, sat down at the table. Lisa, I know I messed up. I know I pushed you away. But I've been going to therapy and I realized some things. I took a bite. Lisa, the way I treated you wasn't fair. I used the divorce threat to control you. That was wrong. I'm sorry. I chewed. Lisa, Matt, please, just answer me. Lisa, I miss you so much it hurts. Lisa, Do you even care anymore? I finished my dinner, did the dishes, brushed my teeth. Then I picked up my phone, typed one message. I'm glad you're in therapy. I hope it helps you. But I'm not the person who can help you anymore. Take care of yourself. I sent it, put my phone on silent, picked up my guitar, played until my fingertips hurt. She sent 7 more messages that night. I didn't read them until the next morning. The last one said, "You're really never coming back, are you?" No, I wasn't. It's been 11 months since that Tuesday night in the kitchen. 11 months since I stopped being the man who begged. Here's where I'm at. My credit score is 782. I paid off the last of the fraudulent credit cards 3 months ago. I have $15,000 in savings. For the first time in my adult life, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I got promoted again last month. Regional manager, 6 figures. Base salary $118,000 plus bonuses. My boss told me I'm being considered for the director track. I told her I'd think about it. Before, I'd have said yes to anything. Now, I know my worth. I ran a 10K last weekend, finished in 52 minutes, not winning any races, but I ran the whole thing without stopping. The guy who couldn't run a mile 11 months ago just ran 6.2 miles without walking. I can play 23 songs on guitar. Still badly according to Jake, but I don't care. I play for me. In my apartment, with the balcony door open, letting the neighbors hear me mess up the solo from "Wish You Were Here" over and over until I get it right. I've lost 52 pounds, put on 15 pounds of muscle. My resting heart rate went from 88 to 62. My blood pressure is normal. My doctor said I'm in better shape than most men 10 years younger than me. I'm 34. I've been on 4 dates in the last 2 months. Nothing serious. Just dinner, drinks, conversation with women who don't know the old me, the weak me, the me who apologized for existing. They see the current model, the one who runs and lifts and plays guitar and doesn't need anyone to tell him he's enough. One of them, Sarah, I've seen 3 times. She's a physical therapist. Laughs at my jokes. Doesn't play games. When she texts back. When she says something, she means it. I don't know where it's going, and for the first time in my life, I'm okay with not knowing. Here's what I figured out. The thing nobody tells you about relationships like the one I had. When someone threatens to leave to control you, they're not trying to end the relationship. They're trying to own it. They're saying, "I have the power to destroy this, so you better keep me happy." And the only way to win that game is to stop caring if they destroy it. Because here's the truth. A relationship that can be destroyed by a threat was already broken. It was just on life support, and you were the one breathing into its lungs while the other person stood there with their hand on the plug. The moment I stopped begging, I didn't lose Lisa. I lost the illusion that Lisa ever really wanted me. She wanted the idea of me. The version that would do anything to keep her. The version that had no boundaries, no self-respect, no life outside of making her happy. When I became someone else, someone she couldn't control, she didn't want me anymore. And that's fine, because I want me. I want the guy who wakes up at 5:30 a.m. to run before work. I want the guy who plays guitar badly but plays it anyway. I want the guy who tells his boss, "Let me think about it," instead of saying yes to everything. I want the guy who looks in the mirror and doesn't see failure anymore. That guy is worth more than any marriage held together by threats and apologies. So if you're reading this and you're in that place, the place where someone keeps threatening to leave, the place where you keep begging, the place where you've forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight without waiting for someone to push you down, stop begging, let them leave, and then become someone they never deserved in the first place. Because I promise you, the silence you're afraid of, it's not empty. It's just waiting for you to fill it with something better. Final note, Lisa texted me last week. 8 months since the gas station. 6 months since the last message I answered. "I saw your LinkedIn. Congrats on the promotion. You really did it, didn't you? You became everything you said you would." I thought about not responding. Then I typed, "No, I became everything I said I would. You just weren't listening." I haven't heard from her since, and I don't expect to. But if I do, I'll probably just be playing guitar. Badly. On my balcony. In my apartment that I pay for with my money. in my body that I rebuilt with my sweat, in my life that I saved with my own two hands. She had her chance to be part of it. She chose to play games instead, and I'm too busy winning to look back.